We understand the promise of glory and notoriety from ranked play leaderboards makes ranked play an attractive target for cheaters.
Dude, I just don't understand who cheats in a video game, man. Like, what is the point of doing that? The whole point of getting on the leaderboards is to, like, flex your rank as a reflection of your skill. But if you didn't earn the rank, like, who finds joy and inner value in having a rank that they don't deserve? Like, does nobody have any integrity anymore? I mean, like, I would rather be at the worst possible rank if that's actually where I was, as opposed to getting a free ticket to the highest possible rank because I didn't earn it. So I just don't understand who is sitting and aimbotting and like getting a high rank because of this and then feeling like happy with themselves. I mean, the only thing I could think of is maybe somebody's trying to cheat to get higher on the leaderboards to then make like a YouTube channel claiming that they're a high caliber player, and then maybe there's some financial gain there, I guess. But other than that, just like, does nobody have like a competitive spirit anymore of just like wanting to actually get good at something and have that be the indicator of skill as opposed to like an arbitrary rank that is achieved by cheating? I don't know, bro.
For this reason, our teams have been especially focused on turning the tide to deliver the competitive arena our players seek. So here's what we've done. Upgrades and accounts. Account bans are now happening hourly due to increased velocity from several Ricochet anti-cheat systems. This in addition to over the 19,000 accounts we've removed.
So they're doing, okay, so they probably, it sounds like they have a cron job that's running, which has been increased to an hourly rate where it's going to look at any player that was flagged for cheating or marked for cheating for deletion or banning is going to now be banned at a faster rate. So it just sounds like by the way they worded it, it's a thing usually called a cron job, which is just like a service that's constantly running, and you can set an increment of when you want it to run and it will fire off code. So in this case, it sounds like they might have a process where they're like manually going in or automatically going in and banning people. And then there's like this cron job that's running that's actually going to apply the bans, I guess.
Recently.
And then they've probably increased the timer of when that job runs to hourly as opposed to whatever it used to be.
These updates to our systems mean enforcement response times are now quicker than they have ever been. So they say cheaters are getting found quicker than ever right now, or they're at least responding to them quicker than ever right now. With leaderboards, the cleanup process has been updated for faster synchronization of leaderboard changes. So at times they've said, hey, we've scrubbed this many people, this many cheaters off the leaderboard, but then we jump onto the game and it's like, actually, no, those cheaters are still there. So there was a delay in the process. That'll be easier to see now.
Yeah, so what's probably happening here, or what was happening here, is that these leaderboards are pages that are only it sounds like they're synchronizing the data based on like a polling interval. Because like the way you want to do real-time data is usually socket-based connections, where you could be constantly listening to a server for like the most up-to-date data, and when the data comes in, you can feed that into your like user interface. Let's say like the leaderboards. But in this case, it sounds like maybe they were doing some sort of like polling system or something. And then that system was just out of sync with whatever the actual real-time data is. So maybe here as well, they either implemented some sort of like socket-based thing, or potentially they implemented like a faster polling interval to like get the actual data faster. So I'd be curious to see how that all works.
We've also ramped up the group dedicated to manually reviewing clips based on a priority order that favors detections. In the last several weeks, the replay tool updates have been highly effective at validating detections and reports, providing further training for AI systems.
Render. Okay, so what they have here is probably like a render farm, which will just take so they save the state of the games. Like as we talked about before, the games generate like state, right? There's like the game state on the server, and they're basically recording that state, so they have a playback that they can then use to plug into this render farm thing, which will be like, it's essentially like a theater mode, right? Where you can simulate the game and base it off of what the state was in the past. So they're able to go through and actually look at this stuff. So maybe they increase the performance of this so that they're able to just like do more actual in-person reviews at a higher rate. And then they can also train AI systems off of this as well to kind of like say, hey, this thing that we're seeing here, let's mark this as cheating so that our AI system can train on that. And then also know that when I see some sort of behavior that looks like this, mark the dude as cheating.
for the anti-cheat team and removing cheaters. We've known that they've used AI systems for Ricochet pretty much since its inception with various different things. They're just doubling down and basically saying they've upgraded various, things and elements of that there.
And just one more point on that, like just for clarification. So some of you guys might think that when you're watching like theater mode, that you're watching a recording, like a video recording of the game or something. But that's not the case. You're literally watching like the state playbacks of the game. So the state has all been recorded of everything that happened. And then you as a user going into like theater mode are just getting that information and then it's rendering it on your screen. So it's not like a video recording or something like that. I mean, most people probably know that, but just in case anybody didn't know.
Our focus is ramping up the speed of enforcement when cheaters do make it through the initial checks, which certainly seems to happen a lot, which eliminates many bad actors before they make it to the game. We use a series of systems that include human reviews, kernel driver detections to block memory tampering. So yes, Ricochet is a kernel level driver, but it's only a kernel level driver when the game is launched. So if you don't have the game open, then it's not active as a kernel level driver. There's also client side and server side detections to flag suspicious.
So kernel level things in general are usually very controversial. So I've always been wondering like why games have been using kernel level stuff these days. I mean, the main reasons would be for anti-cheat, and then for like performance optimizations, because kernel mode basically like bypasses like user mode or whatever, so the code can run and basically directly talk to the hardware, or to like it can interface with like the kernel driver that interfaces with the hardware. But there's a lot of controversy around kernel level stuff in games, because once again, for those of you who don't know, the kernel on your computer is basically like the core of the operating system. So it has like access to everything. Like it's the closest to the metal, so to speak, that you can get in terms of interacting with like your graphics, like your GPU, CPU, memory, all that kind of stuff. So when you have code that's running there, so if you download like Ricochet and that's running on your system, if they have buggy code or code that's malicious, like it can crash your entire system, or it can gain control of your entire system in terms of like it can literally do whatever it wants. Like it could turn on your cameras and monitor stuff, like any peripherals that are in. It could like cause your computer to overheat and catch on fire, stuff like that, right? So it's a very controversial topic of, should we allow our games to have kernel level access to our machines? There's the whole data collection layer there too, because it can track all of the data, like your keystrokes. It can literally track everything. As opposed to if it was just like application code that you're downloading, that would just crash like the application most likely if it had an issue. But kernel level code or drivers are something else. It's a little bit above my pay grade, to be honest. Like I just know generally about all this stuff. So interesting topics.
Conversations about this. Major updates for Ricochet anti-cheat systems, including our kernel level driver and brand new server-side protections launching during Season 2 and Season 3. More on those updates as we get closer to those seasonal launches. So a newly updated kernel level driver is coming for Ricochet. That should be huge in and of itself, and then also new server-side protections as well. While we continue in our effort, a reminder that there are steps you can take to partner with us in the fight against cheaters, including ensuring your account is two-factor authentication enabled. There's a big issue with a lot of accounts.
Yeah, I mean, guys, let's be real. In general, it's a good idea to have like multi-factor authentication, just because if someone does gain access to your account, then you are cooked. But if they don't have like your device or whatever it may be, like your second device for two-factor authentication, then it's like an extra layer of protection for sure.
That get hacked, and then the hacker then cheats on that person's account, and then they get banned, and they say, well, I didn't cheat on my account, but now I have a permaban because somebody hacked my account, and it's a whole ordeal and a whole process.
So one thing that's kind of interesting here, like, and you guys might hate this, but in Korea, where I'm residing, like if you want to play League of Legends, for example, you have to tie your identity to your account. Like you cannot create a League of Legends account without associating I believe it's your phone number, and your phone number has to be associated to like the equivalent of your social security number, so they know exactly who you are, which is another controversial topic. I think there's things to be said about both sides. Like obviously, if there's a malicious actor like in the government that's trying to implement these sort of things, then it can lead to not so good outcomes, because then the government knows exactly who everybody is at all times. But it can also be a good thing, because it prevents anonymity on the internet, which can also lead to bad outcomes as well. So it's like one of those things where you have to weigh the pros and the cons. I know in America, people usually would err more on the side of freedom and not having this sort of like hyper regulation and restriction, you know. But it's just interesting because it's Korea, they value more over here like identity management, if you will. I don't know, like they don't want people being online in an anonymous manner. But that's a whole separate topic. So I'd be curious to see what people think about all that.
Process that you have to go through to actually get your account back. So if you just have two-factor authentication enabled, makes that a little bit more difficult for any cheaters trying to do that. The things you work hard to earn, ranks, play status, camos, etc., are attractive targets to cheaters who want things but don't want to put in the work. And as always, please report cheaters you see in game. We use these
once again, guys. It's like who is cheating and wanting to have a ranked status, and then they don't want to put in the work. I just don't understand that. I mean, like is the Call of Duty rank that luxurious to have, and you just really need it, so you want to cheat your way there to flex to people? I mean, I guess, but I feel like Call of Duty's rank isn't that big of a deal. I could understand if, once again, if it was a game like CS, Counter-Strike, or like League of Legends, and you want to like flex to people that you're a high rank in that game. But Call of Duty, man, it's just like, okay, I guess.
Reports in our investigations into new and emerging cheats, and we appreciate your efforts to raise these flags for us. The Ricochet team will be continuing its work to fight cheaters throughout the remainder of the month. While we have made progress, we know more needs to be done, and we're eager to share the details of our planned major updates coming in the new year. Keep an eye out for future progress reports on the COD Update socials or right here on this channel, since of course I always cover this stuff. Now, there's good news in here. As mentioned, these major updates with the kernel-level driver and the new server-side protections are inherently good news. I will say, at the same time, while it is nice to get this communication, it's nice to get some transparency with more hopefully to come, there are still some things here that are left unaddressed. For one, I know there will be comments about servers. You guys will be asking about those, and rightfully so. Ricochet, obviously completely separate from that, so this is...
Yeah, so like, once again, Ricochet it's literally code that's running on your kernel, so it's on your machine, and then, yeah, the servers would be separate. It's, you know, server code that you're communicating with, but I'm assuming people are complaining about the servers in regards of like the like level of servers that they're using and how scaled up or down they are, because I think there's been a lot of people complaining about poor server quality, and it could be a product of Activision skimping out on the server prices, obviously to save money while maintaining the like bare minimum amount of performance possible to ensure a good user experience. So there is a balance there for sure, and I would actually say there's not a problem with that, like if they want to save money, but it comes at the expense of the player. Obviously, if you're starting with the lowest possible level and then kind of slowly scaling upwards, like it's gonna like inevitably lead to a bad player experience while you're in that process of kind of tweaking things. But yeah, because you don't want to be like a company that's obviously overspending on stuff. Yeah, sure, the gaming experience might be great, but then you're, you know, burning money essentially, right? So there is a balance to be said there, and I think that, I mean, who knows, right? Maybe there's a process there of them actually trying to look into this and, you know, tweak things to be correct. Maybe not. Maybe they're just like, all right, you guys can just deal with these, you know, low, like scaled down servers and just deal with it. But I'm not sure because I cannot see behind the curtain.
Not where we'd see anything in relation to those. Hopefully we get a similar update like this in regards to the servers being so bad. Who knows if that's ever going to happen though. However, one thing that unfortunately is not addressed here that needs to be addressed is the shadow ban and chat ban system.
Oh,
each of these
here we go.
Are incredibly flawed. You can be chat banned in this game without saying
here's a crazy idea for you. Just get rid of chat banning in general and don't even make it a thing. Like that, like who cares? It's just like, I just don't understand, man. It's just people insulting each other in game. Sure, they're being edgy, but it's just like, who cares, honestly?
Word. If you get reported just a couple of times, it
like the main functionality, in my opinion, is just have a mute button that allows people to mute. If someone's being annoying, over the top, whatever it may be, just mute. It's easy. It's simple as that. Just mute the person. You literally cannot hear them. But then it's just like, that to me is the ultimate balance of, okay, you can allow the quote unquote freedom of speech. People can be annoying, they can be nice, they can be whatever they want to be. And if someone doesn't want to hear that, you just mute them. It's that simple, in my opinion. You at the end of the day are in control of what you are intaking to from your perspective, right? You cannot control what others are going to do. And that's a general rule of thumb in life as well. Like if you have people that are being annoying, yeah, you could say, hey, we need to punish those people over there. They're being bad. They shouldn't be acting like that. But if it's a scenario where you can just walk away, essentially, in this case, just mute, I would say just do that. It's a simpler solution and you'll save a lot of headache. and then you can just, you know, live well knowing that the other person's being stupid. I don't got to deal with it. Simple as that, in my opinion. That is going to do it for me, I think. I think he's pretty much at the end of his video, but good video. I mean, he's just going over the patch notes or the message or whatever they output, so that's pretty cool. It's first time me watching this dude, so yeah, go check out his channel. Obviously, a lot of you guys probably already do because he has like 1 million subscribers, but until the next one.